Um, I can kind of review things, but you guys have been 23 families for a long time, so you kind of know the gist of everything. But I did find out today that my maternity leave is officially started, so I won't be coming back. Um, so it'll be Miss Collins that will be in for the remainder of the year. Miss Collins is a good friend of mine. We've known each other since we were 10 years old. We grew up together. Her family is really big in the community. They own Village Sports in Fairport. I don't know if you guys have heard of it before. It's a huge ice hockey arena and sporting facility. She actually is my 5-year-old's ice hockey coach as well. So she knows a lot of like really cool team building activities and things like that. So that's going to be taking place. I'm going to have a formal letter out this week or next, or probably on Monday, to all the families in our class, just letting them know that I will be out officially due to my pregnancy and some things happening. And Miss Collins will be in for the remainder of the year. I'm kind of helping her get adjusted to everything. She's going to try to keep it as much as what I've been doing consistent, because it's really important, obviously, for the kids, and it's been working really well. This has been an amazing group. I mean, I really don't know how I got so lucky with this group this year, because they were really, really great September and October. So I've just been kind of writing everything down that I've been doing so that she can kind of just piggyback off of it. But also it's important that she makes the classroom her own, because she will be in there the next, 9 months or so. I'm trying to look at my schedule now. I still have a 3-year-old that's home, but I want to come in and say goodbye to the class too. So I'm thinking maybe next Friday, since it'll kind of be a fun day at school anyways, I can come in, I'll bring a little treat just to say goodbye, because they really were just an awesome group. So they kind of have a little bit of closure to it as well. And kind of like a formal transition over to Kelly, or to Miss Collins. Do you guys have any questions about that at all? I know it's been kind of crazy. I was just very quickly taken out of work and had to see a bunch of different specialists. And it was kind of like, this week you're out, we'll see you next Tuesday, we'll see how that goes. Then it was like, let's see you next Friday. And I'm like, okay, well, I kind of need like to know what's going on, and kind of been planning. So that's kind of it. But do you guys, how has it been going so far?
No, we're just hoping you're doing okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, the baby's fine. It's more just a lot of stress that's kind of just been making it hard. And I have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, and I don't know what it's been this third pregnancy, but I've been so sick the entire time, and I don't know, Ms. Pomerantz, you have 3 too. I don't know what it is. The first 2 were not like this. That's why I swore it was a girl and it's another boy. But I've had a lot of headaches and a lot of sickness, and just trying to figure out how to keep, the baby growing and me a little bit more comfortable. But really, I would not have made it that long in school if it hadn't been for this group, between like Haya and Molly and Eliza and Sophia and all those guys. I mean, they really helped a tremendous. Hi, honey, how are you? I miss you. I have the little rock that you gave me, the bloom rock. It's out on my walkway. I see it every morning when I walk out the door, and I think of you. It is so cute. And you know who ate all of those pumpkin muffins? My husband. I didn't even get one. Perfect. He thought my mom had sent them over. I was like, no, a student made those. How could you have eaten them all? But he thought they were so good. So that's kind of what we've been working with. But I'll start the open house. Like I said, I was supposed to get all of Mr. Moulton's kids. I'm not sure why I don't have their parents on here. And I probably annoyed enough families with my blasts on balloons, but I feel like as a mom, I need those, reminders that in 10 minutes I got to jump on and do something. But you guys can see my screen, right? The welcome to open house. Awesome. Okay. So Mrs. Yarlett put together a little video for you guys. I'm just going to start out and show that.
Good evening. My name is Katie Yarlett Fenty, and I am proud to serve as the principal of Francis Parker School Number 23. It's a pleasure to welcome you to our open house this evening. Tonight, you will have the opportunity to meet your child's teachers, find out about what your student will learn over the course of the year, and understand the teacher's academic expectations so that we can work together to help your child succeed. At Francis Parker, it is our mission to provide the best possible education for every student. And it is our philosophy that this only happens when there is cooperation and communication between the school and families at home. Parents, we know that the success of our students is a result of many positive contributing factors. Your presence here tonight is a strong indication of your commitment to your child's education. We are so glad you are here, and we appreciate your support to ensure that your child attends school, completes his or her homework, and is prepared for all of those tests and quizzes. We encourage you to continue this commitment throughout the school year and to stay informed of your child's academic progress. I wanted to share quickly our school website and where you can find many, many different resources. So first, you can see that this is our Bitmoji school. When you come here, all you have to do is click on things that interest you. For instance, if you would like to go to my office and have information shared with you that you think would be helpful, you can click on me right here. On the right side, you'll see Miss Roberts, our assistant principal. You can certainly click on her and it will take you to her office where she has resources to share. No matter what, when you enter the school through these double doors, anytime you are done viewing a particular staff member's page, in the bottom corner, you will always find this little icon. If you click on our school logo, you can come right back to this page, and then you just click the double doors and re-enter our building. Here we go. Once you click on the double doors, you can view a quick video tour, or you can go to our guidance counselors, you can go to our custodial staff, you can go into each individual grade level and find your particular child's classroom. You can also click on the specials to learn about music, art, library, and PE, related services, support staff, office staff, the nurse, and intervention teachers. And again, down here in the right corner, you will see our logo. If you click on it, it takes you right back here. So let's go back in. I'm going to go to third grade. You can see we have Mrs. Burton and Miss Swick's class and Miss Passamonte. For each grade level, you will see a little bookcase with numerous resources that if you drag your mouse across, you can click on that are things you can do with your child at home to help them. Once you do find a classroom you want to enter, please click and you will go into their classroom. Here you'll find many resources. You just have to take your cursor and you just scroll it over things. And as you find something where there's a link, you click on it and it will take you to that resource. Each teacher, if you click, has a biography about themselves. Here you can see that there's a daily schedule you can view, Zoom links for class. This is about our house system. This is for math. You can just poke around. Again, when you're done clicking on any resources, click this icon and you can come back to the beginning. Go in the double doors and start again. We hope that this will be an incredible resource for you and your family as you have questions. This is a wonderful place to come. And of course, up at the very top, you'll see all our Francis School Number 23 updates. This is updated regularly with the most important current information that you need to be aware of. I highly recommend you check this weekly, as everything here is something that you will find useful. So with that, I want to go ahead and let you guys go into your teachers' classrooms and enjoy your time learning all about your children's teachers and what they're learning. Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Awesome. Have you guys been able to check out the school website with the different classrooms that you can go to and the virtual pages at all? Awesome. That is a good resource. Oh, no, I don't want this. Okay. So our fifth grade teachers this year, Mr. Moulton, Ms. Collins, and me a little bit briefly there. A little bit about myself. Like I said, I have two children. Jamie's 5. He just started kindergarten, and Evan is 3. He's in preschool. We live in Fairport. It looks like Mrs. Yarlett actually took my bio from last year because I don't teach 6th grade anymore, but I did teach 6th grade for a number of years with Mrs. Rothfuss. So if you guys ever have questions about what's coming up the pipeline next year, definitely feel free to reach out to me. It is a very big jump from 5th to 6th, but a lot of the things that I did this year, they will be using next year as well, like the binder system or how we organize things in the classroom, kind of how we transition as well. It's the same exact thing in 6th grade. So I thought, let me just start it in 5th grade, give them the jump start on it. And it's one less thing that they have to learn next year because they really rev up the content and the rigor. Mr. Moulton has been a staple teacher at 23 for a number of years. I know he has 2 daughters. One is in college, one is a senior. His wife is actually a teacher over in Brighton, and they have this massive dog, Ernie, who is, we hear a lot of stories about, but Mr. Moulton's great. And Miss Collins, like I said, she will be your student's new teacher. She comes from a large family. She has 2 older brothers who actually played hockey all over the world. They went professional. They're pretty well known in the area. And she also has a younger sister, and the kids will learn a lot about her bulldog. What is his name? Grizzly, who likes to go out on the ice. He skates with the kids. So she graduated from Oswego, and we actually played field hockey together in high school and in college against each other. I went to Nazareth and she went to Oswego. So we've known each other a really long time. Technology. So after last year and everything that we've experienced with learning through the Chromebooks, I really tried to limit as much of technology as I could. And I'm a huge proponent of it. I, in years past, had a flipped classroom, and I had a lot of success with that. But because of how much time they spent on it last year, I kind of didn't want to see that anymore. A lot more paper and pencil, because I noticed that, especially when they came back, we were missing a lot of, just basic spelling and grammar mistakes. And they just needed, to kind of pick up a little bit where they left off in 3rd grade with that. But we do use it for Success Makers, an ELA program that they are required to use for 20 minutes a day. It targets where they're at and kind of tracks their growth and pushes them up where they need to be. Or it also provides an intervention side. I'm sure you guys have heard of Zern and Prodigy. They've been doing this for years. Zern can get kind of old, and I totally understand that. So I reward the kids with Prodigy, which everybody loves. It kind of has like a little Minecraft component to it, and they can battle and do their own little worlds and build things, and they really have enjoyed that. I do use Google Classroom. Or Ms. Collins will be using more Google Classroom because that's something that they will use all throughout high school as well. And it's really important that they begin navigating Google Classroom and learning how to submit and unsubmit, provide feedback, look for my comments using that platform. Whole class rewards. In my room, we have a class shout out board in the back where if any student, for any reason, someone helped them do something or was extra kind or displayed some good character citizenship, they can put a little paper up on the board recognizing them. I kind of left it loose with Miss Collins to create her own system because I didn't want to implement something that wouldn't work for her. But I know in September and the little bit of October that I was in, we really had behavior fairly under control. We had a couple of squirrely kids that were just getting used to being back in school a little bit. But for the most part, it was pretty much smooth sailing. Like I said, I don't know what I did to get so lucky with this group, but they've been great with that. Our daily schedule, we are very middle heavy. So the morning is kind of slow, and then everything is kind of jam-packed right in the middle between 10:10 and 1:20. They go from ELA to writer's workshop, or no, math to writer's workshop to ELA, and then they have lunch and MTSS, which MTSS has been difficult to fit in this year just because to give them recess, between recess and packing up, and you guys know dismissal's been kind of crazy as well. It's really been only about 15 minutes or so. So I've used that time for MTSS and to kind of target some students that needed a little bit more one-on-one support. Now for specials. So all of the specials are back inside the classroom this year, which is great. There's no more traveling carts all around the building. I'm sure you guys are very familiar. We have Mr. Greer is back. He's doing a great job with getting the kids up and moving, getting them outside as much as possible for gym class. We have a new librarian this year. Her name is Mrs. Carlson. She's been fabulous. We are lucky enough, I believe it's A and C days that she has open library. So the students that are in art this quarter are able to go to the library and still check out books. She's also going to do some research projects. I asked her to kind of focus on looking at credible sources because, believe it or not, Wikipedia and Google are not always accurate. So she'll teach them some different search engines. And I wanted her to touch a little bit on like Works Cited, because that's something that's important for 6th and 7th grade as well. Then we have everybody's favorite Miss Palashensky and her fabulous student teacher who does look identical to her. So she created a little video to welcome you guys, and that's what I'm going to play next.
This is Miss P. This is Miss Lee. Welcome to the Francis Parker Music Room. We were the teachers so far for school. Miss Lee is our wonderful student teacher, and she is going to introduce herself in just a moment. And I am Miss Polashensky, and I will be the music teacher for the rest of the year once Miss Lee finishes her placement.
Hi, I'm Miss Lee. I'm a senior at Nazareth College, and I completed my elementary student teaching placement here at Francis Parker School 23 with a focus on teaching the older students ukulele and piano.
Welcome back to Music in the Music Room. This year we are making every effort to create music each and every class. All students are playing classroom instruments such as drums, rhythm sticks, boom whackers, and xylophones. The older students are also playing ukulele and piano. Every student, kindergarten through 6th grade, sings and moves every class. We are music readers, music writers, and music performers. Above all, every student is using music class to explore music as an experience and hopefully instill a lifelong love of music and all of the arts. Some may say music education is a privilege, and I would argue it is a human right. Thank you for raising such wonderful musicians and children, and I am so happy to be back in person with them. Let me know if you have any questions at all about music at Francis Parker School number 23.
Awesome. So they did one for music, and they also did another one for choir and for band. And that's something that's new in 5th grade for these guys. Is I know they were so excited to join orchestra or band or choir. That is something new. We went over how to read their schedules, what they're responsible for when they do miss class for a lesson or for a rehearsal. And so far, these guys have done a really great job of keeping track of the time. Because I did let them know I can't notify or keep track of 25 different lessons every single day. So they really have to know when to leave and leave in a way that doesn't disrupt the rest of the class, and how to come back into the class and find what they did miss, where to find that work. They've done a great job. I mean, this is a new skill for them that many students struggle with, because it's that first independent piece of school that they have, that they might have to do something that the rest of the class isn't doing. So you should be really proud. I know all three of your kids have been playing instruments, or they're part of choir. And so far, it seems like they've really enjoyed it. I know my last day, I think the rest of the kids were getting their instruments, and just the smile on their faces when they came back with them, they were so proud. So I'm really hoping that they're going to be able to still, have their ensembles and the concerts together, because I know they're working hard. But Miss P put together another little video to further explain band and choir.
It is such a thrill that choir and band are back in person. Choir meets every C-Day in groups of 10 or less, rotating through a schedule in the music room, where we sing different styles and genres in different languages and really explore the art of good and fun singing. Once a month, we meet in the gym, spaced out, to hear the full sound of all 60 students. We are performing repertoire for a winter and spring concert. Winter will be live streamed, spring will be outside, dates to be announced, and any other performances that come up. Band happens on every D-Day, also on a rotating schedule based off of what instrument your child plays. They are in groups of 10 to 12, spaced out in the music room. Every brass or woodwind player plays with an instrument mask that has a flap and a hole for the mouthpiece, but it covers and doesn't allow any air or germs to get out, as well as a covering for the bell of their instrument, which does the same. Percussion doesn't need that because they don't put their mouths on an instrument. Please be patient this year, as I am on the emergency sub list, so if we do not have enough substitutes to cover classes on band and choir days, there's always the potential that it could be canceled and I'll get pulled this sub. Our concerts may look different because of that, and other performance opportunities. It is definitely an all hands on deck type of year. So I will do everything in my power to make sure as much music happens, but there are some situations I don't have control over. I am so enjoying making music with your children. We are having a blast this year. It is the biggest our band has ever been. It is the biggest our choir has ever been since I've been here. And I think we all needed a little bit of music. So despite any challenges, we will make it through this and create beautiful music together. Please let me know if you have any questions at all.
Ms. Polashensky has done an amazing job with accommodating all the new restrictions from COVID, or due to COVID, that she's been having practice actually outside, which I think is really cool for the kids to be able to do their lessons and stuff outside in their groups. I know when I've come into school late a couple times from appointments, the kids are out there with their instruments, and I'm like, I think that's a little bit more fun than the basement, to be honest. But like she said, the kids have been doing great with wearing their masks and kind of playing music a different way, I should say. These guys really are resilient.
It is such
Okay. So student expectations. So every year in school, we kind of rev things up a little bit. I always explain to them, you're a new year, it's a new year, you're a new, bigger or a grade higher and bigger. Oh my gosh, my pregnancy brain. Higher age numerically as well. So you're going to be given new challenges and new responsibilities. So for 5th grade, we're really working on the students starting to advocate for themselves. So what do they need? What are some, how can we help them learn best? What do they need actual help on or more assistance with? Something that I do after every single mini lesson is I do fist to 5 on how well you understand either the directions for the assignment or the actual skill. 5, I got it, Mrs. Corello, leave me alone, let me go do it. 4, I'm pretty comfortable with it, but I'm going to go slow. 3, I need some help. 2, I really don't get this. And 1, I wasn't listening, Mrs. Corello. And I always pull 3 and below, come up to the front with me. 4s and 5s, I send to the back, and they kind of really run their own little lesson back there, especially my math group. I have a really strong group of math students that they're really facilitating and teaching each other and working through problem sets. And it's been great to see them kind of create their own learning and doing that. I know Molly's been a huge teacher back there helping. But it's always, I give them the option, if you're not familiar with this or if you're not comfortable yet, you can just, there's no shame, just come up and I can help you on the carpet. So I have a ton of students every single day that meet me up there or meet Miss Collins up there. That's something that she's continued to do just because we move so quickly in 5th grade with ELA and with math, and it's a big jump. We have to always remind ourselves this year that these kids really haven't been in school since 3rd grade. And 3rd grade math to 5th grade math is a world of difference. When I left, we were just beginning multiplying and dividing decimals. And I told Miss Collins, we're going to have to take a huge step back, because in 3rd grade, when they left, when COVID started, they were just learning how to multiply and divide 1-digit numbers. So it is a unique situation this year with kind of every new topic or new standard or new unit. We have to kind of continuously assess where they're at and approach it in a different way than we had in years past, because they don't have that experience or that knowledge. And everybody handled remote learning very, very differently last year. But some things that are very consistent is that we ask all students to bring their Chromebooks charged each day. I know these Chromebooks have been through the ringer. I am surprised that they still open up for some friends and that a screen appears. And I know that they can charge them at home and then they can come to school and they can be completely dead. So I have like a charging station in the back where they can go back and sit, and there's tons of different chargers. But I've tried to get them in the habit of in the morning checking their Chromebooks, because we have special right in the morning. And if they do need to be charged, plug them in then, so that when you come back, we're ready to rock and roll. Homework has been something that I've held off on, and I've had a lot of parents asking me about it and why I'm holding off. Because of COVID and this year, I wanted them to get used to getting back into the flow of school routines, rituals and routines. Has been a huge thing that I wanted to focus on in September and October. I did send home a math review test, which definitely helped, I think, a lot of students for the actual test. If you noticed, all I really did is change a couple numbers and change a couple words, but it's been very similar. They're always able to work on SuccessMaker and Zern and Prodigy at home for credit. Ms. Collins is going to begin starting to send home some work that's going to be assigned on Monday and due back on Friday, because I totally understand everybody has such busy schedules. And it's really hard some nights to sit down and get it done, so they can kind of work on it as the week progresses. If they have more time on Tuesday, maybe they can do Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday's night work that night. The one thing it does teach them is do not wait until Thursday night last minute, because you're going to be sitting at the table for a long time. So that kind of gets them in the practice of getting ahead and budgeting their time a little bit. Ms. Pomerantz, do you have a question?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I also had a different Zoom meeting that happened to be at the same time.
No, it's okay.
But my question is back to two things. One to homework and one to the practice test.
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Okay, so with homework, well, let's do the practice test first. With the practice test, I saw Haya was able to complete some of it, but I think she didn't finish all of it. So when she brought it home, we were able to look at it together. And it looked like, for the most part, she understood concepts, but she was still kind of missing things. within it. However, my concern, and please, it's okay. It's only three of us, like we could be open with each other.
Yeah,
My
absolutely.
concern was I knew that either you were out or they had maybe subs or something in the classroom 2 days prior to the day that they were going to have this practice test or whatever. And it made me a little nervous because I'm looking at the work and I'm seeing maybe she didn't get complete all of the concepts. So we had to sit down, and now I'm looking on Engage New York to figure out how to do the math that and it's like, my concern is like, how is she learning it? Is she being taught the math that she's then going to have to take a test to see if she knows? But I didn't feel like she had that opportunity because she had substitute teachers. I think she said she had Miss P and then Mr. Dean. And then so with the inconsistency with who had them, how do we really know if that's something that they know, or do you understand what I'm saying? If
Absolutely.
that's something that they know, or.
And I know exactly the week that you were talking about, because that was, I think that was the week that I ended up getting pulled out as well, because I was in and out. My own kids were in a car accident. One of my sons was sick. It was just a crazy week. So I did take the unit very, very slow. They give us a pacing guide in the city. And it was just too fast. There was no way that I could teach some of this stuff, and every day they learn a brand new concept. I'm huge on slowing it down and reinforcing and making sure that they do know things. And that week, honestly, I wouldn't get too stressed about it. I think with starting the math homework, with them having, it's just reinforcement skills is what it will be, things that they should have learned in fourth or third grade, just to kind of keep it fresh in their mind, because every year it builds on it. But I know what you're saying, where there were subs, and even you as a parent not knowing, is she mastering the stuff at home or at school? So what we do is, there's a mini lesson that I introduce the new skill, and I always circle back to what we learned yesterday, because it always repeats itself and builds. So I do that. Then they get a problem set, and that's where they can either work with me or they work in the back. And then they usually get, it's called an exit ticket. It's kind of like, do they get it or do they not get it? Do I need to give them more help on it, or are they good to go and they're fine for tomorrow? So that helps me as a teacher. I can keep track of it and know Haya's ready for tomorrow, or first thing in the morning, I got to pull her and help a little bit. And this is where also, as much as I love choir, band, and orchestra, it gets a little tricky too, because they start missing lessons due to these things, or start missing my actual lesson and content in the class due to this as well. So that's just something to be cognizant of as well. But I can definitely work with Miss Collins, and maybe we can start sending home some of these exit tickets for you. What I do is I have a binder system. So every paper that they get, that I give out, and that's going to have some sort of grade or is important, it gets a number, and it hits a special spot in their divider from math, ELA, social studies, science, so that they can always take that home and use it to help them with their practice test before the actual test. Also, it's fifth grade. It's not senior year of high school. I'm like, if you need more days, more time before a test, I can give it to you on Monday versus Thursday, and I can send home some extra reinforcement. So please always feel free to reach out to Miss Collins and myself. I'm not gone. I'm not there, but if you guys need something, I can, and you're not getting it, please, please, please reach out to me. I've done fifth grade before. I have a number of resources. I'm always available. And we can make it work for you guys. Because like I said, this is a very different year. We've never done this before. And I want to do what they need at their own pace.
So that was my other question. I felt like if she had homework, or reinforcement work,
Mhm.
that I could see, and then we could start the process a lot sooner than,
The night before the
teaching.
test.
Yeah.
I totally understand what you're saying. And just so you know, because I know you went on Engage New York, which can be very intimidating.
And
It can,
I'm sorry, it's not for me. I just knew that I could get the information that you were teaching from there. I just wanted you to know that.
no, definitely. So just so you know too, they, in fifth grade, it's a lot of real world application problems like multiplying and dividing decimals, adding and subtracting decimals, fractions, comparing. So we have the Common Core way, or the way that Engage New York wants us to teach it, which is all about the why. Why are numbers getting bigger, or why are numbers getting smaller? And then I call it the real world way, because when you go to tip someone, you're not going to be drawing out tape diagrams and discs and moving everything around. So to be honest, because of what occurred last year, I've been focusing more on the real world way with a little bit of the Common Core explanation to it, because I found that when I made things too complex for them, it was too much. And at the end of the day, what are we really trying to get them to learn? We want them to be able to do these things when they're adults by themselves. So that's the way that I've been teaching it. Basically, how we learned is how I've been teaching them math instead of all of these different models. I've been introducing them, and some kids that grasp the concept, they can use that. But for most, I've found that it's better just to stay basic. And we're going to do X, Y, and Z to find the answer. And this is why. And we're not going to bother making 5 different pictures over here with discs, because once we start moving them, that's a lot of where they make the errors, is trying to go from one model to the next model. And that's, it's just too much. But definitely I can work with Ms. Collins, and we can start sending home maybe to what they worked on that day. Because we do go through and I look at their problem sets very quickly, and I circle ones that they need to go back and fix and ones that are good. And you guys can then at home maybe sit down and review the concept, and then you can also come up on your own with extra problems. But I totally understand what you're saying. Thank you for bringing that up. Mr. McKenna, I see your hand.
Yeah, I guess it's a similar question I had, is wondering of where I could find information to help her out, or what she's doing in class. At this level, I guess it's mostly just the homework and helping her with that, I suppose, rather than looking for notes online or anything like that, I guess. Is what
So like as far as like content, or like a weekly newsletter?
I guess content wise, like to know what's happening, like what you're teaching in class, if there's a way to do that, or does a Google Classroom have any of that, or is it just?
I've been steering clear of math on Google Classroom just because it's obviously it's trickier to do it that way.
Right.
What I've been doing, which has worked out best, is we do follow Engage New York. We're just going to be wrapping up the first module next week, I believe. I look at the standard, and then I go from there. I look at what resources they're giving me and if it's going to work for this group or not. And then I usually find something else on Teachers Pay Teachers, which, as you know, being a teacher, sometimes it's a little bit more visually pleasing and a little bit less confusing to them. Mm-hmm. But I think maybe what we'll start to do, because I do like what Ms. Pomeran said, is send home whatever they did for math that day. And then it'll help you as a parent too, to kind of see what we're doing and how we kind of taught them that day. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thanks. Great.
Awesome. All right. Last thing for student expectation is multiplication facts. That's something that usually we hope by the end of 4th grade, but again, because of everything, it's kind of like I'm always taking it a year and a half back. Really, as much as you can master, get the kids to be very fluent in that. That'll help them, because next year, Ms. Rothfuss starts right off with fractions and multiplying and dividing, and kind of like what we're doing this year, but finding the unknown. And if they don't have those basic skills from 8 years of teaching 6th grade, they can't get that stuff yet. So you just really hound in on the basic math skills for them. Arrival, everybody here, it's either like you're a walker or you're a drop off, but we don't have any late arrivals with you guys. The girls come up and do an awesome job getting breakfast out. I always have a morning math coloring sheet, which is basically reinforcing whatever skills we're working on that week. They solve the problem, they look for the answer, and then every answer has a different color and they have to color it. I usually have the lights off and get some Enya going. So it's really a relaxing morning as they come in. For some students, it's a little too relaxing and they go night-night again and I got to wake them up. But I just want it to be an easy transition into the classroom because I know mornings can kind of be chaotic. They did start their first PBL, which is focusing on social justice. It's a unit that I created last year, was the first year I taught it. I did it with 6th grade and it was fabulous. I can't tell you how many times I ended up crying throughout it because what the kids were saying was so beautiful and so powerful that it went from being a 4-week unit to 6 months. I mean, it was way more important than teaching about ancient Egypt that we spent a significant amount of time on it. But we've taken that and we've kind of condensed it back down. So I believe what they've been working on is coming up. First, they learned what social justice and social injustices were. They chose a topic and became an expert on it and had to research it. Some students chose things like the Flint water crisis. Some students chose other race inequities. There was just a whole bunch of options that they could do. But I'm hoping that they're enjoying this as much as my kids last year did. But that's what they do right after they arrive in breakfast. And we do still have a number of buses that are coming in very, very late. So it's kind of an easy morning and then they go right into specials. I do have a virtual tour of the school. If you don't mind, I'll skip it just because of timing. You guys know what the school looks like, right? You guys have all been here a very long time. But if you ever want that, I am recording this so that you guys can always look at it again. Dismissal, I'm hoping we kind of got all of the kinks and wrinkles ironed out. I know it was kind of a hot mess for a while, and we were lucky enough to have that classroom that we could see the mile-long line of families waiting. So thank you so much for your patience. But we have to drop the kids off at the gym. If you're getting picked up or you're a walker, and then I walk the rest of the busers out. So we have one more friend coming. Oh, Mr. Greer is going to come with us. But it sounds like that's been going fairly well. As far as grading, we did adopt a new report card about 2 years ago. We're still using that. When I was in, and I believe Ms. Collins has continued to do it, I kind of started to transfer them over to a real percentage grade because that's what their report card will be based off of next year in 6th grade. So we talked about what does, a 93 mean? What does an 85 mean? What does a 72 and what's a 65 mean? And they really started to appreciate that because I think it gave them a better sense of like, do I know it? Did I do well? Did I not do well? Versus, what's a 2 and what's a 9? It's very subjective. But we're still using our Rochester metrics for that, for our report cards. The first report card, I believe, will be going out in November. I will be helping Mrs. Collins with those. I kind of at that point, it'll be like she had them 50% of the time, I had them 50% of the time, so we can work together. New York State testing and the testing that we've done so far. So New York State testing is scheduled, like everybody knows, in May. Last year, we only had it for the kids that were in school, which was kind of not fair. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. We'll probably get more guidance, probably at the end of April, right before it's supposed to happen, but hopefully a little bit sooner. We did complete FNP assessments, which assesses your child's reading level. At this point, they should be, I believe, they should be down at an S or T. Please don't quote me on that. It's been a while since I've looked at the sheets. But if you'd like to know it, we can always provide it to you. But Molly, Eliza, and Haya are definitely way up there. I would not at all be concerned with their reading or comprehension. They've done a wonderful job, as well as the NWEAs, which the kids, every time we tell them they have to do them, they kind of give us this look of terror. It is a longer test. They do have to sit at their Chromebooks, and it's kind of, the more that they get right, the rigor bumps up. And as they get things wrong, it kind of starts to meet them where they're at. And then it's called a RIT score, where we use these scores to create different intervention groups. They take those in the fall, the winter, and in the spring. Google Classroom, I already talked about that. Reading, we use a program called MyView. The district adopted it last year. It is very different than what we are used to. Unfortunately, we don't do like novels anymore in 5th grade, which is what I loved doing. They're kind of reading short stories and focused questions and standards on those. This is the same program that they used last year. I believe the stories are pretty interesting. It's just kind of the follow-up is a little redundant. So we kind of just take and mix and take some of what they're having us do and supplement with a lot of other things to hit standards. Writing, we have a really great writing program that we're using this year. I can't remember what it's called. I'm so sorry. What is it? I'm a Writer or something like that, but it's been great. It follows a lot of Lucy Calkins, who's the writing guru for education. The stories have been awesome. When I left, we were just talking about Scranimals, which is where you mix up an animal's name and like an animal and you put them together. Your girls have really enjoyed free writing. We do free write every single day. That's been awesome to kind of just give them free reign and just kind of let their creative juices flow. And the girls definitely love sharing out. And it's been awesome to see how far they've taken it. They've done biographies. They've interviewed each other. They've kind of hit all of the writing genres without us even teaching them. So that's been great to see. Math, we talked about. We do follow Engage New York and Common Core standards. And the district has a kind of like a pacing guide for us. I'm sorry. To go off of. I believe I skipped social studies. So social studies, we're flipping social studies and science. They're scheduled at the same exact time. Instead of doing a real social studies curriculum, we're doing our PBL, which has social studies standards integrated into it. And then the second half of the year, we'll focus on science. Birthdays, I know Haya just had a birthday. We've had a couple. You can always send in treats that are just pre-wrapped, store-bought. We have a lot of the time at the end of the day to do it, but we usually play a game, give class compliments, celebrate, because I think that's still so super important for these guys to have that. Field trips. The kids are going to Mars. I don't think they know it yet, but they are going to go on my absolute favorite field trip in December with Mr. Beck. They're going to do the Challenger, which is over at the Rochester Science Museum and Planetarium. I still remember going on the Challenger way back in 2000 when I was in 5th grade. It was my favorite field trip ever. It was so cool. I'm really excited that we were able to do those again. And I know that they have some other fun things planned in the spring to kind of make school as normal as we can for these guys, because they definitely deserve it. Holidays, we never really focus on one holiday. We want the kids to bring in their own heritage and things that their family celebrate at home into the classroom. So if there's something that you don't celebrate or your child wants to celebrate it and wants to teach the class, we absolutely love that and encourage that. You guys know already, we don't unfortunately have any after school programs. I know some sort of childcare would be great for most families. Masks. So that was a huge battle that I had in September and October. And I know Mrs. Collins is as well, very, very vigilant of how students wear masks, and social distancing and cleaning. I can't tell you how many talks we've had, how many times I've had Mrs. Yarlett in the room as well, to continue to reinforce the need and the requirement to have your mask up over your nose the entire day. And in lunch, you take your mask down, you have a bite, you put it back up. I was calling parents every single day and reaching out to them when masks weren't worn the right way. Students were spoken to. And when I left, Mrs. Yarlett had come in that day and spoken to the students as well, because I know some students were not feeling comfortable, and I had moved seats, and I told friends that if you're not going to wear it the right way, we're going to sit like way on the outskirts, and then families are going to be invited in and they can sit next to you and remind you to keep your mask on, because every child's entitled to an education, and if they're not feeling comfortable, they're not learning. So please keep Miss Collins in the loop if the girls don't ever or feel like people aren't wearing their masks the right way, or they're not feeling safe for whatever reason. We're doing the best that we can. It's a very hard, tricky thing. I'm not sure. I keep saying, I'm like, masks are not new. We've had these for a while now. You guys know how to wear them. I don't know what the issue is. But I've spoken to them. I mean, it was daily that I was having talks with some friends, and Miss Yarlett was definitely ready to take it to the next level with some families if they couldn't wear the masks the right way. I know you guys have probably heard different things within the district with the unions reaching out about discipline and mask wearing and safety. It all goes hand in hand, and I'm pretty confident that something will come from this as well. If we're not ready to be in school and keep each other safe, then we don't need to be in school then for some friends. Just so you're aware, we do keep a very updated and accurate seating chart. This is in case a student does test positive. It is the student behind, the student in front of, and the student next to that has to quarantine. And that's because of lunch and the risk of a mask being down. According to the CDC, it's 15 minutes without a mask that it can spread. And that's what the district uses as well. You're not able to test out of it. We've already had an issue back in September. I'm sure your students have told you, but they receive, it's not asynchronous, so they don't jump on Zoom. All it is work through Google Classroom that they're given to at home for quarantine for the student that was exposed, or the students that were exposed, and the student that did test positive. So I also told the kids that's another reason why you want to keep your mask on and you want to be safe at all times, because your families don't want to take off of work to quarantine with you, and you don't want to have to go back and do school virtually again. We have hand sanitizer at the door that when the kids enter and leave, I ask them to sanitize their hands. We sanitize our desks at home at the end of the day. They can also do it at lunch. They know I kept everything very open for them. They know where the Lysol wipes are. If they ever feel like they want to wipe down their Chromebooks, wipe down a surface, wipe down scissors, anything communal, they can always do that. And your girls have been great at doing that. But I know it's been a really hard, tricky kind of battle for families at home. Your girls have been great with wearing their masks and also for advocating and telling other students that they're not wearing their masks the right way. And I always appreciated that because, like I said, we always talked about trying to keep ourselves safe and everybody else around us safe. Some things that you guys can do at home, even though you guys have been great, just checking their take-home folders, staying up to date with Blooms. obviously, since I will be no longer in, I'll stay on Blooms, and you guys can always message me, but the posts won't be coming from me anymore. They'll be coming from Miss Collins. Monitoring attendance. Attendance is always a tricky thing because I know you guys get those annoying robocalls, and we can have the attendance correct on our end, but if a specials teacher enters it the wrong way, or if, say, they missed their lesson with Miss Polashensky, you'll still get a call. It's always a good idea to call the office and just clarify to make sure, because attendance is obviously tracked. Communicate. Our biggest mode of communication is Blooms. I hope you guys are enjoying it. It's been an easy thing that we use also in 6th grade as well. You guys will have it. We can send you guys pictures. You guys can privately message us. We can privately message you. Students can get on it as well. It was more of a 6th grade thing that they would get on it and message us if needed. Always reach out via email. Mrs. Yarlett, Ms. Collins checks her email, and I still have my email, my school email going to my phone. So as much as I'm trying to kind of relax and separate myself from it, I'm still staying in contact because I just can't give up control. As far as behavior goes, we're bringing back pause. I don't know if you guys remember that from a long time ago. We've gone through pause, the Essential 23. I feel like there was something else mixed in there as well. But pause is great because the kids they learn it, they know it, they can tell you if they're not following it. And it's not 23 rules that they have to memorize and all of this extra stuff. So that's been great. Our emails are there. It's always our first and our last name with a period in between at RCSD K-12. You guys are great with getting in contact anyways. But really, is there anything else, questions that you have, things that we can do for you guys and your kids at home? Miss Bazal, I know I didn't see you early, or you weren't on earlier, probably because you had a million other open houses, but I am going to be out the rest of the year. I found out this morning at a specialist appointment. So as much as I love the Bazals, I've had all the Bazals. I hope Eliza has told you how many times I've called her Natalie this year. I'm going to try to come in next Friday and kind of just have a final goodbye and give them some sort of closure and transition over to Miss Collins. Because like I told the other families, this group, I don't know what I did to get so lucky. They have been the best group. So Miss Collins is truly getting a very special class. I've told it to everybody I've seen since the beginning of the school year. I'm like, this is the best group and I'm leaving and I can't believe that. But yeah, it came definitely a little bit sooner than what I thought, but I'm still here for you guys. Message me on Blooms. You can email. And I'll try to keep in touch with the kids as best I can.
The girls will be so happy they get to see you again. They were really hoping that they could.
I know it was so hard. It's just been like every week they're like, we're going to have you out another week. And I'm like, well, is it this? Like, am I going back? It was kind of like, I just didn't know what to do. So that was kind of the answer I got today, was that it's best if I just stay out. But I told Mrs. Yarlett, I definitely have to say goodbye to this group. But I have no fear or hesitation with leaving the group with Miss Collins. I've known her since I was 10. I was looking for some old school pictures of us back then. She's great. We actually did student teaching next to each other over at School 33. She was with Miss Pasamonte, who's at our building now. So she's very familiar with things. She has a lot of experience with kids. Her family owns Village Sports in Fairport, which is it's kind of like a sporting facility and ice rink. She's my son's ice hockey coach. She's great. So that's kind of where things are at right now. But really, please stay in touch. Let me know what I can do for you guys, or if there's things that I can help Miss Collins with as well. I'm not having the baby till January 12th. So I have some time, and I'm kind of like, what am I going to do with all of this downtime now, but I can definitely help
Yeah.
out.
Because you won't be resting after that.
I know.
Just enjoy it.
I know. I still remember the sixth grade picnic. I had Miss Bazel's oldest, Natalie, and I was pregnant with my first, and she was trying to tell me how to get induce labor because I was like 38 weeks pregnant. And she was giving me all the secrets with my first. But Miss Collins is actually on here. She refs at night. So there she is.
There we go. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
And Jamie sees his coach in the back.
Hi, Jamie.
Miss Collins, I was just telling them a little bit about you. Kind of went through everything. I let them know that we're going to keep things as consistent as we can. I'm going to come in next week and kind of have a farewell, and I'll still help Miss Collins with kind of getting used to stuff and finding, planning for the next couple weeks while she adjusts, because it is a lot to take over a new class in the middle of the year, but also so that she gets this is her group now, and makes it her own.
Yep, it's been a lot of fun so far. So
They're a good group.
I'm
They're a good
excited.
group. So do you guys have any other questions? I know I ran over a little bit of time, but I wanted to make sure that I let everybody know what was going on and was as thorough as I could be in explaining stuff for fifth grade. But I can assure you they will be ready for sixth grade, because I've done sixth grade a number of years, and I set it up exactly like how they're going to be entering it next year. And I know Miss Collins is going to keep it the same so that they're ready for it with Miss Rothfuss up
I
there.
can attest. You did that with my older two. You did a great job.
I absolutely love them. And I told Eliza to make sure Natalie knows I expect a graduation invitation, a graduation part. I cannot believe that group is graduating, but they were,
Yeah, I know.
they were a special group too.
Mhm.
Can I
They
ask,
were.
I think I have like two questions.
Yeah.
Is there gonna be movement this year, or maybe it's sixth grade, like where they switch teachers for math or ELA?
So we used to departmentalize, and I honestly loved it. Just from a teacher's standpoint, you can really specialize in a subject or two, and it gets them ready for seventh grade. And I've always been a huge advocate of departmentalizing. Unfortunately, we weren't able to departmentalize this year, so they won't be switching back and forth. I'm not sure what's going to happen next year with that. I think that they might end up going back to it just because Miss Rothfuss and I said we are a very small pond and they are very big fish in this school. And it's one less thing for them to learn once they go into seventh grade, to transition between two teachers, to learn two different teacher styles, and even just carrying the supplies back and forth between two classrooms and knowing what to carry is a skill that they learned. So unfortunately, not this year. I think maybe next year that'll end up happening, but they'll stay put in 208 for this year for all subjects. And I think part of the decision was based on COVID too, and tracking movement and where kids are sitting. Unfortunately, that's been a huge issue.
Okay, that makes sense. And then the other question, I might have missed this, I was on Brady's open house too. If now that they're wearing masks, or supposed to be wearing masks during lunch, if another student did get tested positive in the class, as long as they're wearing their masks all the time, will there be a need for someone to quarantine that's sitting near that?
That's a good question for Mrs. Yarlett. As far as I know, it's the student sitting in front of, behind, and on either side. And I was always very strict with the mask, and I know, Molly is very diligent with her mask. if she would still need to, I'm guessing the answer would be yes. Just based on the protocols and how strict, thankfully, they're being with it. I think that they still would.
Okay.
And unfortunately, they can't test out of it. It's still 10 days. And they would only be given work on Google Classroom. They wouldn't have async work where they'd still be Zooming with us. I would touch base again with Mrs. Yarlett. I'm not sure if Miss Collins, did we end up getting a permanent lunch aid, or is it still?
So we have on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, we have someone's parent. Her name is Mrs. B. I forgot what her last name was. She calls herself Mrs. B. And then she's going to be consistent for those 4 days. And then it's Mr. Mitchell on Wednesdays.
Okay. Yeah, I would definitely reach out to Miss Yarlett about that, because I was staying in the classroom for lunch. So I was kind of that like Hawkeyes where I was on them about their mask because it was so important. But that was because I was trying to get things ready in case I was ever pulled out for Miss Collins. But traditionally, we're supposed to not even eat in the classroom. We're supposed to go down to the cafeteria. So it's just left up to the cafeteria aide to be diligent about it. Yeah, I would definitely, I know what you're saying. I would talk to Mrs. Yarlett about that.
Okay. I'll ask her, just
And I had said earlier too about if a child is not feeling safe with where they're sitting due to another student not wearing their mask the right way, we can always move seats as best we can. We're not, right now, everything is spaced out 3 feet next to, 3 feet behind, 3 feet in front of. There's blue tape. We're not able to move the desks very much, but I did have students leave and unenroll at our school. So it gave me a little bit of flexibility to move some desks back or some desks in front. So maybe that's something too that we can work out, or Miss Collins can work out. But yeah, I would touch base with Mrs. Yarlett.
The past week or two, they've been very on each other for it. So even if a kid brings it down just to say something, they'll cut them off and be like, mask up, so they're very on it with it. It's almost like a game to them. They're like, yep, they catch everybody with it. So, and we do sanitize all the desks. We've given everybody jobs now because they've all wanted to kind of feel a little responsible. Like Jack Quinn wants it to be his cleaning crew. So they actually sweep all the floors. They do there's 2 kids that put gloves on and they do Lysol wipe all the tables and desks and everything. Like they do it right before lunch and then they do it right at the end of the day. So they have their times they do it. So they've actually been very good about the cleaning and the mask wearing. So
I wasn't sure if I heard, Miss Carello, will you be back after maternity leave or not for the rest of it? Okay.
No, the baby's due in January, and with my other 2, I've always come back to work. But I kind of thought, I know this is the last one. Let me enjoy that last little baby phase a little bit. So as of right now, my plan is to stay out the rest of the year, unless this baby is colic, and then he's going to go to my mom's house. But I'm just kidding. That's what my plan is. Yeah, to stay out. But like I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with my time. So I'm sure I'll be in a little bit here and there just to say hi. And 23 has been my home for the last 10 years. And so much of the staff is like family to me that I'll still have to come in and say hi and bug people because I'll be bored. Anything else? All right. Well, you guys, I can't tell you how much we love your girls and how special they are, because they've been my morning breakfast crew. They go down to kindergarten and they open up milks for them. They're always my note runners because I know they'll come right back to the class and they won't talk to 10 million people on the way. They're great. So I can't thank you enough for sending them to us and entrusting us with them, because they will definitely do remarkable things as they grow.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Well, I will go ahead and stop our meeting, but you guys always know how to reach us and reach me and Miss Collins. I'm not gone. I'm here. You guys can always message me if you need something. And we truly love your kids. And I hope mine are just like yours when they grow up. That's all I say all the time. Like, I don't know what these parents do because their kids are so great.
Well, take care of yourself.
Thank you guys. You too. Stay dry out there. Bye, guys.